Coming up next, we'll look at how the unemployment shock is hitting women more than men. And I'll tell you the one thing that you can make to make your dream a reality. We'll take your calls and your chats. It starts now. I am coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. It's all about you because you were created to fill a unique role. That means you are needed. It means that you must do it because somebody out there actually needs your contribution. And that's what we talk about here on the Ken Coleman Show. Work that matters, meaningful work. And we are here to help you get clear so that you can begin to take steps. So we're going to walk alongside of you throughout your journey. So really excited that you're with us today. Somebody out there probably needs to call in. Swallow your nerves. I'm going to take good care of you. You're not a prop here. You are the reason that I come to work every day. So let's go. 844-747-2577 is the phone number. 844-747-2577. Also, submit your chat questions right there in the chat room next to the video window, and the team will get them here to my laptop. So coronavirus unemployment, it has been wide and deep, but I'm seeing in the news that women are getting hit harder by the unemployment crisis than men. So I wanted to look into this and why. And the reason is because the service professions prior to coronavirus was employing more women than men. In fact, I actually shared that data that women, we saw really good numbers. We're seeing employment improving for women more so than men prior to COVID. Well, the reason that it was higher prior to COVID is because in the service industries, more women were being hired. So education, leisure, hospitality, and all of those industries are the ones that have been hit really hard by the lockdown, the social distancing measures. So if we look at April, the full force of the lockdown really hit and unemployment surged to 14.7%. Now, among women, the rate rose to 16.2% compared to 13.5% for men. And so usually we see in recessions that men get hit harder. In 2009, in that recession, unemployment among men reached 11.1% compared to 9% as the peak for women. So I bring this up to say to you ladies, listen, good news, as those industries that were employing more women come back online, so will your opportunities. But I also put this out there to say, hey, men, you're listening, you have the opportunity to employ women. Let's look to get as many women hired as we possibly can, because that part of the demographic of the workforce has been hit really, really hard. And so there's a big need out there. And so ladies, take heart. We are already seeing the economy thaw, and I think jobs are going to come back pretty quickly. I'm not going to predict as to how quickly they will come back, but they are going to come back. And I think that those numbers of a higher percentage of women being hired in those industries, I think that will continue. That will get back to that normalcy, and you'll see that. So be encouraged. That's why I share that with you. There's no question that the numbers have been greater in certain industries, and as those industries get their sea legs back, then you'll see the opportunities come as well. So hang in there. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577 is the number. You can also email the show, ask@kencoleman.com. Let's go to Durham, North Carolina to get us started. Lindsay is there. Lindsay, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
Lindsay, I'm living the dream. What's going on?
Great. Quick question for you. So I'm a new listener and I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts. So I recently took a job back in January at a very large, very well-known, reputable company. So it's been about 4 months, and I just completed a 90-day training with them. And some red flags are going up and not performing well. I'm just concerned that it's just really not a great fit for me. So I could be curious to hear your thoughts on, I guess, looking for another job so quickly, especially after they've just invested quite a bit of time and training in me.
Yeah.
And then with the coronavirus going on, kind of adds another layer, complicated layer to this equation. So just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, well, let's just say at the top here, from about 30,000 feet, there's nothing wrong with you acknowledging that this isn't a good fit and looking for something else. I just wouldn't publicize it, right? So the idea is that I would want you to stay until you have something else to step into. And so if it is difficult to get hired, post-COVID or whatever we want to call this season, that's okay because you have a job. And the idea here is you do the best you can to make the best of it until another opportunity comes up. But I don't want you to feel like you're a flake and that you're going to be judged for that. I don't want you to feel like you're being in some way dishonest or unloyal since they just put all this training into you. If it's truly not a good fit, and I'm going to break that down in a second, I want to learn more, then I think it actually is courageous for you to admit it. And going forward in other jobs, you can just say, you know what, it just was not a good fit. Nothing bad about the company. You can take the high road. And as you are acknowledging in future interviews that the stuff you are looking for, because now I think you're going to be more informed. You're going to know more about yourself coming out of this. So I just wanted to alleviate any anxiety that you might have, because I don't think it's going to hurt your professional career if you decide to move on. Cool?
Cool.
All right, now let's talk about what's really going on. So I feel like you gave me some clues here that you just don't feel you've got the actual enough talent or proficiency, or is there something else?
Yes and no. So it's more of kind of now that I'm in the position and have been working for the past couple months, I'm just kind of finding that some of the job responsibilities didn't really align with the description and my expectations.
Okay, but let's stop right there. It totally does. But the question is, are they things that just are sucking the soul out of you and that you don't enjoy these tasks and it's not something that you would have signed up for? Or is it that you feel like you're not good enough and it's causing anxiety that way because of your performance? That's what I'm trying to figure out specifically there. What's going on?
So they're going to be... it was a task that I was expecting, but it was more of the amount that I'm doing per day. So
it's not talent. So it's not talent. It's you feel like you're being overwhelmed.
Correct.
So you can pull it off.
I believe so.
Okay. So it's really, oh wow, this is way more than I thought, and I'm having a hard time keeping up.
Yes.
Anything else? What are the other red flags?
And then I also just think with the people that I'm working with, I'm in sales, and the target audience, the product, I'm just not as authentic as I was in previous roles.
Oh, okay. I got you. Well, that's all I wanted to verify. I think those are all legitimate reasons, because at the end of the day, I don't think a salesperson can truly be their best if they're not excited about what they're selling, if they don't find some heart connection. I think you can be a successful salesperson and not have a connection. You could be successful, but you can't be your best. And ideally, I would want to hire salespeople who believed passionately in the product or service. And it's okay if you don't.
Right.
Now, my question is, what did you learn from this? What are your lessons right now that you've learned from this? That you go, okay, Ken, I'm going to be way more informed and not get myself in this situation in the future. What did you learn?
A little more research on the company and the product, and to not kind of just go along for the ride during the interview process and with whom's recruiting me.
Lindsay, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. You're a new listener. You decided to call. You got vulnerable on this. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not a bad person for feeling this way. Welcome to the club. I can't tell you how many millions of people have been in your situation, but you know why I'm really proud of you? You have decided to get clear on this, get some advice on this, and decide to do something about it, as opposed to spending 10 more years there and your soul completely leaving your body. And that's why I'm proud of you. You're making this decision now and not sticking with it. There's no reason, folks, if you're like Lindsay, that you need to stay in a situation that you know is not a good fit. She's not doing anybody any favors. All right, Lindsay, here's the deal. We've covered everything. I just want you to stay put until you have something to go to. You understand? You change your mindset starting today. And when you start to feel overwhelmed, you go, this is my fault. I made this bed, so I got to sleep in it, right? And you be grateful for a job right now, which I know you are. You're a great lady. And then I want you to find something else. And the minute you find something else and you have an offer, you're ready to go, you just tell them, look, I'm really sorry. I appreciate all the training. I'm not doing you any favors. If I continue in this position, it's just not a great fit. You handle yourself with class, the way that you would want somebody to treat you if you were in your leader's position, knowing what you know. You do that, Lindsay, your best days are ahead. Really appreciate the call. Let's go to Jeremy next in Charleston, South Carolina. Jeremy, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. What's going on?
Hey, so currently I'm kind of in a pretty toxic work environment, and I've gotten the opportunity, and I heard you telling Lindsay, same kind of thing, kind of stay put until you have somewhere to go.
Yep.
And I think I have the opportunity, and I'm hoping to get into a graduate school program that'll allow me to kind of get into the targeted area field of study that I want to get into.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, as far as, moving out of the toxic environment I'm in, how to do that best if I do get in, and then grad school, kind of what to focus on, what to avoid to make sure I'm not hiding. I've heard you and Dave talk about kind of hiding in grad school.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the first part, because that's the easiest one to answer. Then I need some more detail on the second part of the question.
Yep.
First part is just be classy. Who cares? Who cares if it's toxic or not? You always want to leave well. There's no reason to blow up a bridge. If you are leaving a toxic environment, and this is for everybody, not just Jeremy, understand that they're going to throw some knives in your back or some arrows, on your way out, because it's an unhealthy place, right? So you can't control a toxic environment, and you cannot control how the people, the leaders, the teammates in that toxic environment are going to react when you say, I'm out. So don't worry about how they react. You only focus on how you act. Just leave with class.
Okay.
That's it. I don't need to tell you any more on that. Just be a world-class person leaving, and take the high road. Now, the second part, what specifically do you want my insight on? Because you're going to go to grad school. Is that going to be full-time or part-time? So are you going to be able to work or no during grad school?
The start of it, I'll be able to work, and then once they reopen the school, I'll be moving and going to school there. So, just as far as career-wise, to avoid hiding, is there anything I should focus on, getting in? It's an 18-month program. Do you have any advice or tips on, networking or, working while I'm in there or anything like that to make sure I really get out ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. What field are you wanting to go into?
Real estate development.
Okay, great. Oh, perfect. All right. So in the season where you can work and go to school at the same time, if I were you, I'd be spending as much time as possible, and your schedule, as much time as possible getting around, hanging around, coffee, lunch, shadowing, interning, working entry-level position, whatever's feasible in your financial life and in your personal life schedule. I would be in real estate development. I'd be in that field. Okay. And that world. Yep. That's the proximity principle. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That's why I wrote the book. I'm going to give you, do you have a copy of the book?
No, sir.
You do now. So Madison, before we let Jeremy go, we're going to give you a copy of the best-selling book. Please, Jeremy, read it. I wrote an entire book on one principle that says this: in order to do what Jeremy wants to do, real estate development, Jeremy needs to be around people that are doing real estate development and be in places where real estate development is happening and those people are hanging out. You get that, Jeremy. That's about as simple but profound of a success principle that there is on the planet, if I do say so myself. Okay? So what you need to be doing is working in that space, and then when it comes time to go to school full time, here's the other thing. You may not have the time to work, but you will still have some discretionary time during your week, won't you, Jeremy?
Yep.
Yes,
sure.
you will. So what do you need to be doing? Reading books, listening to podcasts, taking webinars. What are some other things that you can do that you are continually sharpening your sword while in school? And since you've got the proximity principle, you can still use the proximity principle while in school. There's no reason why you can't continue to connect with people in real estate while you're in school, to the point where they go, wow, Jeremy is humble. Jeremy is bright. Jeremy's hungry. I'm going to hire Jeremy. I'm going to offer Jeremy a job before he even gets out of school. It works every time, bro. Hang on the line. Madison's going to get you a copy of the proximity principle, which, by the way, I'll just go ahead and mention. We've got an incredible deal. Is that going to stay that deal through June, or is it just May? Just May. So right now at KenColeman.com, you can get the best-selling book for $10, the hard copy, and then you can get, there it is on the screen, you can get the ebook for $8 and the audiobook for $3.99. Goodness gracious, that's such a deal. I don't even know if I'm making money on that one, Joe. I really don't know. I got to do some research on that, but it's too late. Every time I see the graphic, I go, golly, that's cheaper than Amazon. And it's a great graduation gift. So there it is. There's my pitch. Go to KenColeman.com. All right, coming up, I'm going to teach you on the one thing that you can make that will make your dream a reality. Some of you are going, well, wait a second, Ken, I'm not very good with my hands. By the way, it occurs to me, Joe, whenever I do that little voice on behalf of the audience, I always drop down into this like southern redneck thing. I'm not sure why I do that.
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should come up with a different voice.
No, I like it.
You like that voice? Yeah. All right, we'll stay with it. All right, let's go to the chat room. Rachel writes in, is this a good or bad thing? Now, great way to throw a chat at me. That gets my attention, Joe, because I want to know, well, what's the thing? My department head has fired 5 employees at different times, but every time their roles get assigned to me. Oh, gosh. I don't know why I find that funny. Here's why it's funny. It's a good thing and a bad thing, in that it's a good thing that your boss, A, isn't firing you, B, feels like I can count on Rachel. And so when I let go of some people over here, I'm going to give their work to Rachel because Rachel can keep us afloat. That's a great thing. You are reliable. Okay? That's one of the 4 characteristics that I teach on when it comes to how to get promoted. You want to be likable, you want to be coachable, you want to be reliable, you want to be honorable. And you're reliable. So that's great. The bad thing is it's heaping on top of you. And again, I don't have the luxury of talking to you right now, unless you call. So I would be very careful that you don't get overwhelmed, which will lead to buildup on your heart and makes you feel burned out. So be careful. Be very careful. And make sure that you talk to that leader soon about a growth plan for you, because that leader has shown that you are extremely reliable. And so with these added responsibilities, you should be getting added compensation. Grace writes in, I've come up with a few creative side hustle ideas that could potentially replace my full-time income. How do I battle the disbelief that I could actually make money using my ideas? Well, this is all about the 3-step process to overcome fear, doubt, and pride. So the way you wrote it, I actually took the word constant out. You actually wrote, how do I battle the constant disbelief? Well, let's just call that what that is. That's doubt. And you've got some insecurities based on people in your life that have said some things to you that wounded you, either intentionally or not. Or you've had some experiences that have been negative and you haven't recovered from them. You didn't filter the negative experience and turn it into strength. You held on to the defeat. That's what causes doubt, period. So the way you overcome doubt is this. Doubt's a liar. So what's the voice of doubt in your head, right? And it's, I'm not actually smart enough or good enough to take these ideas that I ruminate on and turn them into money. That's the voice of doubt for you. So if doubt's a liar, and it is, we say, okay, we got to write it down. We got to get out on paper what doubt is saying. Doubt says, I'm not smart enough, talented enough to make money based off my ideas. Well, that's a total lie. Okay? Unless, and let me throw this out, unless you've been delusional. So let's go get some feedback from people that know you and say, this is what my head is telling me. I want to believe it's a lie. Do you think it's a lie? And they're going to go, yeah, you actually do have what it takes. You're very talented here. And so if we got to get some outside feedback to help us, great. So that's step one. Get the lie out on paper. Step two is what I just said. You go to a friend or a family member or a coach or a teacher or somebody, a coworker, somebody who can verify that this is in fact a lie. So we put the lie on the witness stand and we break it down. And then step three is we then focus on the truth. Up to this point, you've been focused on the lie and you're believing it, and it's holding you back. And so once we've exposed the lie for what it is, then we focus on the truth. And the truth is, you do have what it takes. You do have the talent. You do have the brains to be able to turn your idea into money. Is it going to take time? Sure. Are you going to fail along the way? Absolutely. That's part of the deal. And so that's the process right there. Let's do another one, shall we? Matt S. Hey, Ken, I would be graduating college next year. I'm taking summer classes now. What else can I do to prepare me to start my career? Well, this is very much like the phone call we did with Jeremy. And again, what's the career path or the sector, the industry that you want to go into? And while you're taking summer school classes, you are learning, right? Books, podcasts, YouTube, all of the very cheap and free resources in your field. You're learning from the actual field, not just book learning in the classroom. Second thing is you're using the proximity principle. If you can't do coffee lunch with people, if they're still freaked out by COVID, fine. Zoom, you got parents, friends, family members, extended acquaintances, whatever. And you're looking to connect with people that are successful in the field that you want to go into. Why? You're learning more about what they do day to day. The highs, the lows, the pitfalls, the shortcuts, the cheat codes, right? For people, they know so much. Do a college book report, if you will, or a research paper on those people in all different levels, all different types of positions, and all different types of experience. A person that's been in it for 2 years, a person that's been in it for 20 years. All of that stuff is essentially like you walking around with a bucket and you're getting relevant feedback so that you can learn. And by the way, in the process of learning, you're actually connecting, the right people, and they're going to put you in the right places, and you're going to meet more of the right people, and they're going to introduce you and put you in other right places. And then it's proximity principle process, and opportunities are going to knock on your door. That's how it works. 844-747-2577. I'm going to do a phone call, and then we'll get to the one thing that you can make that'll make your dream a reality. I'm going to switch it up just because I can. If you see behind me, it says the Ken Coleman Show. So every once in a while, I like to change it up. Let's go to Jeremiah in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Jeremiah, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. I appreciate you taking my call today. How are you today?
I am living the dream, Jeremiah. What's up?
Well, I am walking away from a job that I've been in for 10 years.
Okay.
Needing to change. Just am stuck because there's nowhere for me to go because it's a small business. And there's nowhere to grow, nowhere to develop. So I actually put in my 2 weeks yesterday and just needing some help on where I go from here.
Uh-oh. The dreaded, I quit my job yesterday, but Ken, I need some help knowing where to go. Now, is that really true? Do you not have any idea what you want to do in your work life?
For long term, really, I don't. I mean, at the short term, I'm like, if it comes down to it, I'll go work fast food. I'll go work at Walmart or something. If things get really desperate, I'm not afraid to go do that.
Did you get severance?
But just, I did not know because I actually walked away on my own.
When is your last paycheck?
It'd be in 2 weeks, because it coincide with when I walking away.
Okay. All right. So we're starting from scratch. You've been listening to this show for how long?
A couple of months now.
What do you know about yourself? Let's look at talent, passion, mission. Tell me what you know.
So doing like Clifton strengths, I'm really good at. My top ones were futuristic, woo, and adaptability. So winning over people, that whole, wouldn't it be great if, like, I'm very good at seeing things before they even happen.
Gotcha.
Or coming up with crazy ideas.
Yeah.
Like driving around the other day, I was like, I wonder if anybody's ever made a oval chain gear for, and random things like that just pop into my head. And
all right, let's talk about passion. Let's talk about work that you love, that you look forward to when you're in the middle of it. Your heart's beating fast. I know one is you love ideating. Stick you in a brainstorming session and you're out of your mind. Am I right?
Yeah. No, okay. I love doing brainstorming sessions.
Okay, great. So I gave you one to start with. Tell me some other types of work. Task is what we're looking here, or function, the role you play in the marketplace that you really, really love. What is it?
So I love being and interacting with people and helping them to learn new skills, how to teach them how to use technology around them is what I've been doing. I'm very good at that. I'm very good at taking technology on a high-end level where you're talking ones and zeros, and then taking it to somebody that doesn't know how to turn a computer on, and like making that mesh together of, hey, this is how this is going to work with this application, and taking those things and marrying them together so that people can understand how to use things.
Okay,
is what I've been doing.
Great. What else? What else do you enjoy doing?
Mechanical stuff. I love using my hands, working with my hands.
If you were going to, let's say I gave you a 3-month trial, we'd call it the dream job trial. All right. And it's 3 months. You're not going to fail, but it's a 3-month thing to decide, do we want to keep doing this? But it's this fun thing. I'm going to pay you what you need to make, but you have to be mechanical. What are you going to choose to do for 3 months?
Probably something in a testing environment where I'm testing mechanical type stuff.
Be more specific.
And like if you had going in and going through like the testing phase of a product, like if you're designing like a one that comes to mind is like a fork for a bicycle, going through the stress tests of that, of like, okay, where does this mechanically fail? Why did it fail? Was it the material? Was it the design?
Yeah. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that?
It's just, it's fascinating to me. It just makes my mind, like, it just takes my mind and brain and goes somewhere where I can really use it. And
I think you got some answers. I think you just got some answers. I think you just gave yourself some answers.
Yeah.
You do know where you want to go. You do know where you want to go.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what I heard.
Just how do I?
Yeah, I think it's how to get there. And I think you're all hung up on a job title as opposed to letting your heart inform you. And I think your heart just informs you. I think if we look at futuristic and woo and adaptability, which is, I like Strength Finder. I think it's a wonderful test, but it's just one part of the 3-part equation where I focused on all 3 things: what you do best, what you love to do most, and the results of that work that matter most. And so if you were to define the results of your work, what would be the ideal results? You go home at the end of every day and you say, wow, I produced these results today, and that makes me very happy. What would be those results? Stop thinking, by the way, and just say it.
Just working with people. I think that's one of the biggest things that I love doing, is just being with people and finding a way to help them develop and grow.
All right, so that's interesting. That's interesting because that gives us more of your heart than the path we just went down on the mechanical side of things. Because I don't know that if you're in a mechanical job all day, every day, and you're in a testing facility, I wonder if you wouldn't really, while enjoying the work, I don't know that the results part would really deliver for you. You want to see somebody smile at the end of your work.
Yes.
That's what I think is most important to you. Not fixing the thing, but fixing the thing and then showing it to the person that you fixed it for. That could be interesting. And so what I'm hearing, I think there are two things. Either you want to instruct people on technology and take them from frustration to satisfaction. Making these words up. You can plug these in later.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Or you want to fix something for somebody and take them from despair, frustration to relief and satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
There's always got to be a person on the other end where you get to look at them and show them how you're going to help them, then help them, and they feel wonderful about it, because that's where the woo thing comes in. So the question is, what would you do tomorrow? I've led you to let's just have fun. I want you to dream, then we'll worry about how to get there. What would you do tomorrow if you knew you couldn't fail? Say it. Say it.
I'd be a technology instructor of some kind.
That's what I thought. That's what you said early on, and we went and checked several things out, and now we're back where we started, which is great.
Yeah.
So, Jeremiah, how do you get there? It's pretty simple. You got to go do your homework and identify all the different ways that you can instruct people on technology. That can exist in 5-7 different positions, multiple different fields. At the end of the day, we're looking at what are you doing during the day, and you are teaching, instructing on technology, and there's got to be the human component. Go find that, Jeremiah, and your heart's going to be on fire. Am I right?
Yeah, no, I agree completely.
And don't make this too difficult. Don't make this too scary. It's not. You have to first identify, where can I do what Ken and I just discussed in the marketplace? And then how do you connect? Hang on the line. Madison's going to get you your favorite format of my #1 best-selling book, The Proximity Principle, because once you do the research and we figure out where you can do that type of work in the marketplace, now it's just about connections. That's it, folks. I love this because it's so stinking simple, but it feels complex in your head. And I get it. I really do. But it's not that complex. And that leads me, Joe, perfectly to what I want to teach about today. So, I was thinking about this morning. And sometimes the things I say to you folks are so ridiculously simple, I think you got to chuckle. But you need to be reminded of this. This is something that I see from a lot of people and I hear on the show all the time. Because you start thinking about making the dream a reality, right? And Jeremiah, a great example. Any call that calls in, we finally get that big dream out in front of them and in front of you, they can still get really intimidated. Because it seems so big and so complex and difficult. But look at me, here it is. You ready? The one thing that you can make that will allow you to make your dream a reality. Time. You ever hear anybody just say, I got to make time? Gonna have to make time. Always cracks me up, Joe, because the reality is all of us, Joe, Madison, myself, you have the same amount of time in the day. How many hours we all got, Joe?
Last time I checked, 24.
You are correct. 24 hours. We all have the same amount of time. And it kills me when I hear people say, I just don't have time. I don't have time to get serious about living on purpose, working on purpose. I just don't have time. I don't have time. Ken, you don't understand. Yes, I do. Because I'm dealing with the same allotment of time that you are. Still have 3 kids. Let me remind you, and Joe Hankin can verify all of this. While I was starting in radio, I had 3 kids under the age of 3. I don't think I slept for about a 5-6 year period. It was so intense that I would have dreams that I was changing diapers. I would have dreams. Those are actually called nightmares. But I would literally wake up feeling like I was changing a diaper, and I look up and, oh my gosh, that's how many diapers we were changing. It's crazy busy when you got 3 little ones under that age. Crazy busy. running my own business, and then trying to do a radio show, trying to write a book, all those things. I get it. I've been there. I know what it feels like to feel like I don't have time, but you do. And you have more control over it than you actually think you do. Make the time. Ken, how? Sacrifice some time in other places of your life. I better not ever meet the person who tells me that they don't have time. And as I redirect the conversation, I find out how much they spend on social media and watching TV. You know what? If you got to change your workout schedule, change your workout schedule. If you got to sacrifice hanging out with friends and family for a little while, do it. If it means you don't watch your favorite show, fine. Make time. Making time work for you is the key to you making progress. You may not have a ton of resources. I'll grant you that. You may not have any money. I'll grant you that. But let me tell you the one thing that you have, it has nothing to do with resources and it has nothing to do with money. You have time, and your time is the single greatest investment in your future. Make time. Speaking of time, unfortunately, my time is almost up. But before I let you go, you matter. You do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.